I've come down to spend some time alone when I need it more than anything. My life's a river and I'm a stone. It rushes by me and all I need is to ease out. Slow down to get out, get away for the day. For a while, just me and the sea, where the river's running free.
Once you row on Lake Leelanau and experience the beauty and the serenity that comes in rowing in this environment, you can't help but come back. You know, the first time I rowed on Lake Leelanau, it was amazing to row right by St. Mary's. You know, I think it might have been a Sunday morning, and just hearing the bells and seeing that, it's really a divine experience.
I'm not a water person. I can't swim, but I love to go out in a boat on the lake because to me it's communing with nature, and I really find a peacefulness there on the water. Obviously we live on a peninsula, a beautiful peninsula with many cherry trees and vineyards, but to be on the water brings an inner peace, I think, to people.
So what happened was Eric and I happened to meet last fall, and we were in a writing class. We were talking about publication, and I had mentioned that I had a minor essay published in a rowing magazine, and suddenly rowing, and both of us were thinking, uh-oh, there's a link here. So I said, yeah, I row, do you row? And Eric said, I rowed for Northwestern. So that was it. Once we knew that each of us rowed, we made a plan to get together and row in the spring. So I came out to Fountain Point, and Eric had his scull and I had mine, and we started rowing, and it all kind of took off from there.
Building a rowing club here in Lake Leelanau and for this area is a tremendous opportunity on many levels. Obviously, it'll be a great opportunity to teach people to row and fitness, and there's an opportunity for building team and leadership training. But we also have this opportunity to leverage and show off the incredible assets we have in our county. I mean, people can come up and row, and they can go to the dunes and go to our fabulous towns, and they can go wine tasting and hiking and fishing, and there's just so much to do. So it's really a tremendous door opener for us to showcase this amazing area we have.
People talk about, Leelanau County, and they have a hard time kind of formulating the words for the feelings that it evokes in them, because it's a mosaic of things. It's not that any one aspect of it. It's not the only place in the world to find beautiful beaches. It's not the only place in the world to fish for walleyes. It's not the only place to find towering sand dunes. It's not the only place to find apple orchards or cherry orchards in bloom by the thousands of acres, although it may be the best one in the world for that. But it's the mix. It's the whole mix. It's the beautiful inland lakes, it's trout streams, it's farming and the way agriculture is mixed in with the forested landscape. It's beautiful wetlands. It's a lot of things. And they all need to fit together. And, one of the fun things about working for the Conservancy is we spend a lot of time thinking about what that mix is and how to preserve the essential elements. I think that also the history and the history of human use of the land and the compatible uses of the land that we've developed over time is something that we care a lot about, we think deeply about, and we want to promote into the future.
The idea for the Lake Leelanau Rowing Club started when, well, I'm sure it's an idea that Eric has had for a long time. Anyone who rows in an area where there isn't a club has the idea for a club.
I used to live on Crystal Lake, and that was great because I've lived here like 40 but rowed 15, 18 years on different lakes, wherever it's calm. And I was always curious about Fountain Point. It was one of those mysterious places that you drive by, and I've been doing it forever, and I thought, what is going on there?
So many people haven't heard of us because this is not a destination for Grand Traverse County and around here. Our people come from Ohio, Indiana, Chicago, Detroit, Illinois, out Kansas, California. So we'd like to have more community things happening here where the community can come here and see things and be a part of it. My hopes for the future of Fountain Point is that we're able to keep it in the family, which is the most difficult thing to do with a National Historic Site. And we do have the 4th generation coming up. I'm the 3rd, and my grandfather purchased it in 1936, and he was a guest here since 1917 with my grandma and grandpa, my mom and my aunt. My mother and my aunt ran it for 53 years. Then I ran it with my husband, David Early, and then after 1989, I ran it on my own.
And look at a place like this. I mean, it says something about the historic culture of our area. It says it harkens people back to when they were younger and the world was simpler. I think it has just an attraction that is, just wonderful. It also has the vibrancy of youth to some degree, bringing up the rowing team from the University of Michigan, having regattas. When I was a kid, sailing on Lake Leelanau was a competitive sport that a lot of kids learned. And that has the same kind of attraction, I think.
The lake is beautiful. It is, I mean, I'm just amazed at how far you can go. It seems like I haven't found the end of this lake yet, and that to me is, that's a huge lake. So, and it's nice because you can get a lot of different water conditions here too. So you can, even yesterday when it was a little bit windier than, maybe we could go around the corner and it was perfectly flat water. So you're able to really take the conditions and be able to practice in everything and not just, oh, perfect water, because you're never going to race in perfect water. I mean, unless you have that lucky day where it's completely flat. So, and it's just watching all of the colors changing. It's just such a great fall feeling and such a great Michigan feeling.
Fall in Michigan is beautiful, and it's a great time to come up here and be on Lake Leelanau. This is also a time when most of the competition and training is longer distances. College rowers want to get out and do 3-mile races, long pieces, and on Lake Leelanau, it's not just a 2 or 3 mile race. They can go for 10 miles in either direction. And so the coach can get them out for the kind of training they want to develop their aerobic capacity so they can focus in the winter on getting ready for spring racing.
Part of it was that most of our rowers are not from Michigan. We recruit mostly from the East Coast, the West Coast, the South, just because there's not a ton of junior rowing in the Midwest compared to those locations. And we feel like a lot of times they come to Ann Arbor, they row for 4 years, and then they leave. And they never come, they never go anywhere but Ann Arbor. And that Michigan's really beautiful, and we would try to show them a little bit of that and kind of stay in state and do something fun.
We want to show the girls something they wouldn't have seen otherwise.
And they think of Michigan as just Ann Arbor and maybe Detroit, and so getting them up here and seeing how beautiful it is has been really cool.
And this was a great opportunity to get good rowing strokes in but still stay within the state of Michigan, and we don't need to drive 8 hours south to Tennessee. The weather here is exactly the same as it is in Ann Arbor. The water is very similar, and it's working out perfectly for us. It's exactly what we needed.
Toes to the edge, roll, press it out.
The Community Association is trying to come up with ideas that would help ensure year-round activities in the community so that we can have a source of income 12 months out of the year instead of 4 or the 6. And so that would be a very, very positive thing for this area.
I like how fast you go.
I like how fast
Seem
I
like,
go.
yeah, you go pretty fast.
Faster than I could see.
Yeah. Like in the distance, it doesn't look like you're going very fast. Then when they go by you, it's really really cool.
But I always thought rowing would be a great thing for kids to do, but activities like sports really help kids develop, I think.
Rowing is something that people can do for a good long time. It's great for the high school students and younger. It's great for college, but the older population knows that rowing is something that you can do long into adulthood. In fact, I was just reading in the Wall Street Journal, they were reporting on the head of the Charles in Boston, and this year they've had the largest number of people over 70 rowing, which is a great thing to just keep in shape and keep active.
Well, my interest is partly that it may be a place where I can come and row. Right now, when I'm at Old Mission, I row in an open water boat on Traverse Bay, which is great, but sometimes it's a little rough to do that. Lake Leelanau is narrower, calmer, and I could bring my racing single here and compete. The other interest is I'd just like to see the sport grow everywhere. It's a great sport, and to many people it's sort of an elitist kind of thing, and they don't think they can do it, but the fact is it's something that's accessible to everybody these days with the whole variety of boats that are being built for people of different levels of skill. The indoor rowing machines, you can do it year-round. You don't need to, even when there's ice on the lake, you can be rowing. So, and this is just a beautiful facility.
So we're hoping that all of this will help us to be here in the future. I love Fountain Point. It's my life and my family's life, and it makes me teary. I want to save it. I want it to stay here because there aren't any places like this anymore where families can come and be together, and our families come back again and again because this is where they have their week together with no outside interference, and I want it to stay that way. And it's getting harder, and we need help.
Oh, that was amazing. I think it was our first meeting. It was in the summer, and
we were talking about putting together the club and what work needed to be done, and Eric.
One of his main goals was to get kids rowing and have a rowing club and rowing classes and really do a big job of it.
We were actually having a meeting, it was probably in July, on the porch out here at Fountain Point. The 3 founders, Tim, Saz, and Eric, and myself.
We were fumbling around about how to structure this meeting, what we were going to do, and Melissa's real organized and had this notebook, and Eric and I didn't, and we were just trying to follow her, and she was all organized, and she'd thought about this and done some research already.
And we were talking about putting together the club and what work needed to be done, and Eric stepped away for a minute.
And Eric decided, well, he'd go in and get some refreshments, and when he came back out, he had this strange look on his face, and it was like he saw a ghost, and at that time he was inside getting refreshments. Theo, his brother, had gotten a phone call.
And Eric stepped away for a minute and came back with a message in his hand. And he said, "You will not believe who just called."
And so Brett went online and basically, I don't know what you Google,
I went on Google Maps and I was like, all right, let's find a lake in northern Michigan, and I was like, that one looks pretty good, and it was Lake Leelanau, and then I went Lake Leelanau hotels. And Fountain Point, I kid you not, Fountain Point came up first, and I was like, all right, and then called the number, and I think Eric, I got your brother.
Yep.
I got Theo.
And Theo said, "Oh yeah, you got the right place."
I was like, so I just kind of put the feelers out, and he's like, well, actually, we're trying to start a rowing club. I was like, and I was like, sure you are, sure. I'll bet.
And she said, she said to herself, we heard later that she said, "Oh yeah, sure, you guys are developing a rowing club. I hear that all the time." Well, that was true. So that's how it happened. It was just an amazing story. It gives me a chill now. Out of the blue from U of M, the coaches there, who looked on the map and said, "Wow, this is a great spot to bring my kids up, my girls up to row on in this long, narrow lake," and she called out of the blue.
And then it kind of snowballed from there, and actually I row a single down Ann Arbor, and some people that I row it down there were like, "Oh, we just came from there." Like Eric had a couple of Ann Arbor Rowing Club people up for the weekend, and they're like, "Oh," and they came back and they're like, "We were just up there and it was great. We stayed in a cabin and we went out on the water and it was wonderful." And so then he was nice enough to let me come up for a weekend in August, and I took my single out and I was like, well, if it's good enough for a single, it's good enough for eights. So that's kind of how we got here.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just pure coincidence that we found this place that is starting a rowing club. So that's really cool.
Can we gesture first? I mean, why wouldn't you want to be here? This is a fantastic place. We're so happy to be up here. My primary reason for wanting to come up here had nothing to do with rowing. It's a very selfish thing, but I think there's so many people on our team who are recruits from California, from New York, from Connecticut, down south, who've never experienced Northern Michigan, and that's so sad. I mean, Ann Arbor is a fantastic place, but who wouldn't want to go up here? And it's a beautiful place to be. My heart lies in Northwoods. I've been a Northwoods girl my whole life, and I wanted to share that with everyone on the team. And I think it's a really great thing that so many people have the opportunity to do this, because if it wasn't for rowing, they wouldn't be able to be up here. And you know, after that, yeah, we'll focus on rowing a little bit.
It's great to just see the validation really from University of Michigan that they also came to the conclusion on their own to explore options in Northern Michigan and check out Lake Leelanau, really based on looking at maps and studying the geologic formations of different lakes up here and seeing that this had a really long stretch of narrow water, very protected. If the wind's out of the north, you're protected going this way. If the wind's out of the south, you can head up through the narrows. And that was the real excitement yesterday, was to see these boats make it through the narrows for the first time ever. 60-foot long boats, 8 of them, just plowing right through, plowing back. It's just great for our lake, great for our town. This is a really great way to just rejuvenate Lake Leelanau and really build some real new traditions here in this great community that we have.
Let's go, Blue!
It was really interesting the first day we went up through the Narrows, and there were people on the bridge watching, and people were pulling their cars over to the side of the road to come out and watch. And we're not always used to that, so that was fun.
And when we rode under the bridge up by the Narrows yesterday, there were all these people on the bridge and some parents that are up around here, so it's cool that people are interested in what we're doing and excited to have us here.
We feel like Lake Leelanau is giving us as much as we can give them. Like it's a very balanced thing here, and it's odd for us feeling that way because we don't get any coverage. You know, the University of Michigan gets football coverage, they get hockey coverage, they get basketball coverage. Most people don't even recognize that we either have a rowing team or that it's a varsity sport. And that's okay. I'm okay with us being, you know, the best kept secret in Ann Arbor. That's fine, but it's really refreshing to be up here and to see people who are just as excited to have us here as we are to be here.
We sat on the bridge and watched the team row underneath the bridge, and it just brought a smile to your face to actually see the lake utilized not just for fishermen, or whether it be ice fishing or summer fishing, but for something that is different, that has never been in Lake Leelanau or even on the lake before.
No, it's amazing how just supportive everybody is. I mean, even, you know, we're like, you go out to the store, like I went out to the store and they were like, oh, you're part of that rowing team, right? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, go Blue! And like, as we're rowing onto the bridge, go Blue! It's just, you feel so much support and just excitement around us being here, which is really, I mean, it's great for the girls. It's also great for the coaches. I mean, it's nice. It's just nice for everybody to see how much support you can get, because sometimes, you know, when you're in school or, you know, you're coaching, you get lost in the rigmarole, and here it sort of brings you back like, oh yeah, this is kind of exciting. This is kind of amazing that we're doing this. And especially for the girls to feel it to have them be like, oh my gosh, people are excited about this, it just gets them more into it. So it's really all the way around. It's just like a win-win for everybody.
Well, building a rowing club here in Lake Leelanau and for this area is an analogy for building community. And we have that opportunity to create that with a rowing club here on Lake Leelanau. And when you have 8 people having to pull together in the right way to make a boat go through the water, we can certainly use that as an analogy as to what can happen here in the county if we all grab an oar and pull together here in the county.
I'm just really excited about the happenings here at Fountain Point and the U of M rowing regatta that just recently took place. It's been phenomenal, and I'm just really excited about the future with the rowing sports here in Lake Leelanau and what that can do to put our area on the map. We're known for our beaches, and very little gets told about our inland lake and the assets that we have to offer to the community and to the state and the nation as a whole. So I think it's pretty exciting that this is taking place.
You've got everything that you could absolutely want. As much lake as you can row, really friendly people. If you're looking for a beautiful setting, challenging conditions or easy conditions, depending on what your skill level is, you've got both. Yeah, there's actually really good food around here. You guys know how to make food. I mean, the apples have been so good. As I said, really good food. Food is important to rowers. We love to eat. Locally grown food is one of my favorite things. It's one of my passions, actually. I wish everybody in the country would do it because A, it's better for the environment, and B, it's better for your body. And especially for rowers, our bodies are such a major part of what we do. To be able to get locally grown food that has all of the nutrients, it tastes good, it helps people around here, that's the ideal situation, to be quite honest. The difference in the size and just the freshness and the shape of the fruit, it's just, you can tell that you're feeding your body the right thing by doing that. And I think, I really do think that everybody should locally grow their food. And so it's great that it still happens up here. And I love that actually we were rowing today and I could hear the cows. I could hear the cows mooing and I'm like, sorry to all the vegetarians, but that could be dinner and that would be so good.
The main thing that is the water. Most places don't have it. You've got the water, then you got the people, and everybody I've met is really enthusiastic about this.
The rowing club idea certainly is maybe the greatest idea to come along that would provide some instant energy coming from outside with the showing up of the rowing teams from not only the University of Michigan but any place else that may come about, and create not only pride in the area, which Lake Leelanau certainly could take pride in that. It's going up and down the river that goes right through there. But the area itself can become the spectator and some further pride in what we have that heretofore apparently was only in Boston as far as U of M goes.
Whether it's paddling a canoe or sailing a small boat or a rowing scull, piloting an 8 through a place like that, it is great scenery. It's getting in touch with nature. It's also sort of, I think it touches something that's kind of primitive in all of us.
I've rowed in a lot of the venues in the Midwest, and there's nothing like this water. The reason being, some of the places have bridges, some of them have a lot of curves and turns, some of them have big docks that stick out into the water, and some of them that are straight, of course, like this, is on an open lake, which is so big that you typically get wind. This is kind of open water, but it's normally pretty well protected. So of the many times I rowed here this summer, I think it's only 1 or 2 times I had to come in because it was too wavy. Normally it's just flat, beautiful water for 12 miles. So it's really unbelievable.
I think that Lake Leelanau is pretty much an unknown treasure. The village itself is an unknown treasure.
Well, I like to say that Leelanau County has a pastoral, pristine background, And I think for the young ladies who were rowing and their teams, for them to be able to row on the lake with that background would definitely be a plus for them. Maybe even a motivator for them, who knows?
I do believe that these kinds of efforts will be part of building a sound economy for Leelanau County and for Northwest Michigan that's based around our natural resources, natural beauty. It's non-consumptive. You know, when the boat passes and the wake is gone, nobody knows that anything ever passed through the area. It's totally in keeping with probably what we as a community should have for goals to build our economy around. And I believe that if we keep that sense of uniqueness and natural beauty, we'll have a strong economy 20 or 40 years.
You know, I went to the new economy meetings in Traverse City, and they were talking about what the young entrepreneurs of this century are looking for in a community. And they were talking about things like natural beauty, which we have abundance of. Your film shows as much, and I'm once again looking at that thinking, darn it, this is around me every day, and I live in it, and I'm too busy doing this, that, to stop and get blown away by a sunset. But you can get blown away by a sunset or a sunrise any day, every day here.
I think that people up here are actually nicer in some respects because there's still a sense of small town and a sense of community that it exists downstate, but I think it's just a little more cohesive up here sometimes. Yeah, I think that you seem to have places around here where people actually gather and get together, and like it's really neat in that respect. And it kind of brings me back to my childhood too, just with all of the trees and the fresh air and just the beauty that really is Michigan. And I'm thrilled about how excited people are that we're here and they're excited to come out and race. I mean, I've gotten more excited about rowing just being here because everybody's so excited. It's unbelievable. I can't even get over it.
You know, this is like every person's dream come true is to go back and do summer camp all over again. I think everyone got really excited.
Love it. I think it's beautiful. It's been a long time since I've been up north. I used to come up north as a kid all the time, and then I left the state. And so to be back up here, it's just wonderful. I forgot what the colors look like, what it smells like. The fact that this is the second oldest resort in Michigan is absolutely fantastic. I had no idea it was even here, so this has been a total treat for me because I just came back to the state in June, and then to come up here in the fall and be on this resort and be on this lake and then be around the sport I love, I feel like I kind of hit the jackpot. So I'm really happy. This has been just a fantastic experience.
For a while, just me and a sea where the rivers are running free.
I just think that this, people say the small towns are dying, or that that it's all happening in the city. I think that this village is an idea of what the future could be.